Namaste, Sat Shri Akal and Adab everybody. I request you to please pay attention and make some time to reflect on the subject of this video, which is the 10 stages of genocide in light of the ongoing farmers' protest in India. There have been genocides in the past, but we never had social media back then. Right now, because we have social media, we're able to see the clear-cut signs of genocide in real time. Dr. Gregory H. Stanton noted, genocide never just happens. There is always a set of circumstances which occur or which are created to build a climate in which genocide can take place. These stages may occur simultaneously or in a different order. The 10 stages of genocide namely are classification, symbolization, discrimination, dehumanization, organization, polarization, preparation, persecution, extermination, and denial. So starting with stage 1, which is classification, here the perpetrator group will classify or categorize people as us and them. So this could be based on religion, race, ethnicity, or caste. At the farmers' protest, the farmers are being categorized as terrorists, Khalistanis, separatists, anti-nationals, communists, China, Pakistan-sponsored agents and whatnot. So the Sikh farmers particularly are targeted because of their articles of faith like the turban and the kirpan, which are very easy to identify. And these articles of faith are being demonized. Stage 2 is symbolization. Here the perpetrator group will give the target group some names or symbols and associate those with hatred. At the farmers' protest, the Sikh farmers are very easy to identify because of their articles of faith like the kirpan and the dastar or the turban. The propagandist media is associating the Sikh articles of faith with threat and danger. So naming the farmers terrorists and anti-national now conditions the other civilians to believe that Sikhs are a national threat. Not just that, the supporters of the farmers' protests are tagged Andolanjeevi by the Prime Minister himself. Number 3 is discrimination. The perpetrator group uses law, political power and customs or traditions to deny civil rights, voting rights or even citizenship rights of the target group. In the farm bills, the right of a farmer to go to court in case of any dispute has been stripped off. Not just that, the legalization of MSP, which is the minimum support price, considered to be the minimum life support of a farmer, has been denied. Internet shutdown and signal jammers have been used by the BJP government to suppress voices of dissent. The constitutional right of a citizen to protest against government policies has been met with water cannons, tear gas shells, massacre, burning of farmers' tents with petrol bombs and unlawful detention. Stage 4 is dehumanization. The perpetrator group denies the humanity of the target group. The aim is to overcome the natural revulsion towards murder among human beings. Other civilians are conditioned or programmed to believe we are better off without them being the target group. Hate propaganda begins on media and press. At the farmers' protests, gross human rights violations like sewer water being thrown at farmers and tear gas shells being fired on peacefully protesting farmers, unarmed elderly farmers being brutally beaten up and killed by the police, farmers being fired at and mowed down by the BJP and its allies in broad daylight. The government has turned a blind eye and a deaf ear towards the concerns and death of farmers. Specific media houses and press have been using hate propaganda against farmers to delegitimize them. Stage 5 is organization. Genocide is always organized. If the perpetrator group is the state, it's going to use highly trained and armed militia to accomplish its goal to exterminate the target group. The state will spy on, it will arrest, it will also torture and murder the political opponents. At the farmers' protest, the BJP government is using its polarized followers and sister organization RSS to attack farmers and their allies with arms, law and the IT cell. Mandeep Punia, Disha Ravi and Nodeep Kaur among many others have been unlawfully detained, tortured and abused in custody. Stage 6 is polarization. Here the perpetrator group will drive the us and them groups far apart. Mass media is used to spread hate propaganda against the target group, and motivations of killing this target group are broadcasted on media and press. Emergency laws are passed for full control. At the farmers' protests, media censorship, defamation of farmers, use of brute force on farmers, unlawful detention of protesters have been ordered by the BJP government via its militia and its IT cell. Stage 7 is preparation. Here the plans for genocidal killing are made. The perpetrator group uses euphemisms to hide their intentions. They refer to their action as counter-terrorism or purification. They create fear of the target group in the minds of the populace. The aim is to indoctrinate the populace with the belief that if we don't kill them, they will kill us. At the farmers' protest, if you observe, it is the Sikh farmers who are labelled terrorists, anti-national, separatists and Khalistanis to deem them as a threat to national security. The BJP aims to indoctrinate the populace with, if we don't kill them, they will kill us, and then justify the genocide as counter-terrorism. Stage 8 is persecution. Here, the perpetrator group will identify and separate the victims from the target group based on religion, race, or ethnicity, and their property is expropriated. Death lists are drawn up. The victim group is confined and starved to slowly destroy them. Human rights violations such as extrajudicial killings, torture, and forced displacement are committed. The target group is forcefully sterilized to stop their procreation. Note here that it is now that the perpetrator group will check for international reaction to the genocide. At the farmers' protests, water and electricity supply to farmers was cut off by the BJP government. Sikh farmers are systematically defamed and their articles of faith are tactfully associated with threat. The farmers were ordered to assemble in Burari ground initially to confine them, but the farmers had declined. The farmers have been mowed down and killed by the Union Minister's son and his allies in broad daylight. The SDM was recorded ordering the police to smash the heads of farmers, which resulted in the death of farmers who were only peacefully protesting. Stage 9 is extermination. It is extermination to the perpetrator group because they do not consider the target group human enough. In state-sponsored genocide, the government works with armed forces to do the killing. Rape is used as a war tool to genetically alter and eradicate the target group. Men of fighting age are murdered. Cultural and religious property is destroyed to eradicate the target group's existence from history. We've recently seen how the Jallianwala Bagh site was renovated rather than being preserved. Naudeep Kaur was sexually assaulted in custody. Let's bear in mind that this was a reported case. There are many cases that go unreported. Union Minister's son Monu Mishra has murdered farmers in broad daylight in Uttar Pradesh. Stage 10 is denial. This is one of the surest signs of genocide and it always follows a genocide. The perpetrator group digs up mass graves, burns bodies, covers up evidence and intimidates witnesses. They deny any crime and blame the target group for its own genocide. During the farmers' protest to favor denial and erasure of evidence of genocide, these are the steps that have been taken by the BJP government. False narratives are propagated through sold media and the BJP IT cell. Farmers are defamed to delegitimize them. Internet and media blackout, censorship of social media and press, signal jammers installation are all done to enable erasure of evidence. Unlawful detention of peaceful protesters and allies to intimidate witnesses and supporters. IT raids in houses of celebrities who call out the failure and impunity of the BJP government. Unlawful and draconian laws like the UAPA and NIA are made lawful. All of this is done to eventually deny a genocide. We now know the clear-cut signs of genocide and we're able to relate it with the treatment of farmers who are only exercising their constitutional right to show dissent to a government policy. So the question now is, what do we even do with this information? What we should be doing is to talk about this, create dialogue around this subject, and educate people about how the farm bills are negatively impacting the not so well off farmers and also the other systems, and eventually us in our own homes. Let's not bite the hands that literally feed us. Stand with the farmers and let's show our solidarity.